Malki and her husband Yossi have spent the last 5.5 years directing Chabad of Rara and traveling our vast and beautiful country supporting people that are all around in different remote areas. Last month, they moved to Newcastle, where they're going to settle as a permanent support and link for the Jewish individuals and the communities in the Hunter and Central Coast regions of New South Wales. Malki is also known for her part in Outback Rabbis film, and she was the one who was impressively driving that mitzvah tank truck all around Australia. Malki, welcome. Please, can you tell us about the power of the Jewish soul and how no Jewish person is too far out of reach for you?
Hi, Tali. Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Malki, can we get you turn your screen as well? Sorry.
I'm also sideways.
Perfect. Wonderful.
There we are. When we say that no Jew is too far, we absolutely mean it. And many of our stories highlight that. On the one hand, we have hundreds of incredible stories that you could say are coincidence or serendipitous, but we know it's hashgacha pratit. It's God's guiding hand orchestrating these meetings. And equally, we have plenty of stories of long trips where there were days that we met no one, or our attempts to find a Jew led to a dead end. And regardless of the outcome, our motto has always been and always will be that no Jew is too far. And why is that? Because we all have a Jewish soul. Some are blazing bright and others are a spark hidden under layers of family history. And along that vein, I wanted to share a story that illustrates this amazing power of the soul. So a couple of years ago, my husband and I were on a winter Rara trip, traveling the dusty roads of rural Victoria. We had spent several beautiful days meeting individuals and families in different little towns. And at each stop, we'd share our journey on Facebook for others to enjoy the light and the joy of Yiddishkeit being spread. One very cold morning, as we drove towards Bendigo, we got a comment on Facebook from a woman in Shepparton, and she was wondering if we'd be heading her way. We private messaged her to ask her a little bit more about her interest, and we gently inquired as to her heritage. And she replied and said, "I think I'm Jewish, I'm just not sure." And our curiosity was piqued, and we debated whether now was the right time to go visit her. We had 2 little kids in the back of the car, we had limited days for this trip, and we already had a really packed itinerary scheduled. In the end, we couldn't look past the wonderful opportunity that had come our way, and we added Shepparton to the growing list of areas that we needed to visit. When we arrived at Chrissy's farmhouse, her 2 little boys were chasing their cat around the yard as she tried to encourage them to come back inside. And as I unbuckled my own little boys, I already liked her. She invited us in, and all the kids disappeared into the playroom, giving us adults a chance to chat. Chrissy explained that when she was brought up as a Christian, don't mind me, technical difficulties. Chrissy explained that she was brought up as a Christian and attended a religious Christian school her whole life. Her mother was raised in a similar manner, and despite that, from a young age, she always had a feeling that the religious stuff didn't sit exactly well with her. And she figured she was just an atheist kind of person, and she left it at that. A couple of days before our meeting, Chrissy had collapsed on the couch after a really long day. Her kids were finally in bed. We could all relate to that. And she was mindlessly flipping through the channels on the television. She caught the tail end of the Outback Rabbis film that was being shown on TV that day, and she was absolutely mesmerized. Maybe I am Jewish after all, she began to wonder. She knew her grandmother had been Jewish in a past life, but here this rabbi on the film was saying that Judaism goes by your maternal your maternal lineage. So if her grandmother was Jewish, what did that mean about her? That night she couldn't stop thinking about the film, and she wondered about what it meant. She decided to follow Chabad Rara on Facebook and just get a feel for these rabbis and what exactly they do. She didn't breathe a word of this to anyone because she felt kind of embarrassed. She felt silly about these ideas, and she knew that they were a Christian family for generations, so what was she thinking about? When a post about us being in the area popped up, Chrissy jumped at the opportunity. Maybe this was a sign that she was waiting for. Here was a rabbi and his wife who would be willing to just come and sit on the couch and have a chat. And so apprehensively, she left us a comment, and then here we were a couple days later, sitting together, having a wonderful, friendly conversation about motherhood, about life, and about Judaism. Chrissy shared the heartbreaking story of her grandmother's life. As a young woman, she'd married the love of her life, a man who didn't share the same heritage as herself. And having been secular for several years, it never really bothered her grandmother. And she still held on to her tradition with pride until one day, after a very difficult pregnancy, she went into labor. And looking forward to meeting her firstborn child and becoming a mother, except the baby was born and the room was silent. And no one said a word as they whisked the baby away. She didn't even get to see the baby. She didn't even get to hold the baby. And the nurses in the hospital were nuns, and they treated her really insensitively as she cried for her baby and for the unfair loss. They said something that changed the course of her family. They said to her, "You brought this upon yourself. Your Jewishness is what caused this curse on yourself and your family. Had you joined the religion of your husband, this would never have happened." Broken, mourning, and vulnerable, this young woman took those words to heart and renounced her Judaism to live a life of Christianity. For generations, the souls of this woman, her children, and her grandchildren lay dormant and quiet, a small flicker of godliness hidden from view. And now, decades later, her granddaughter sat with a rabbi, her flickering soul yearning for connection. We left Chrissy with a few little pamphlets about different Jewish topics. We didn't want to overwhelm her or overload her with too much stuff. And we left with farewells and promises to be in touch. And we wondered, would she be in touch? Often people aren't. Would she take this further? Often people don't. Not 4 hours later, I got a message from Chrissy. She'd already devoured all the reading material we'd left her, and she wanted to know where she could get some more. That was the day we introduced her to Chabad.org, and she was hooked. That Friday night, she sent me a text, 2 beautiful Shabbos candles flickering in her home, and I cried. Tears of joy, tears of hope, tears of gratitude for the chance meeting that had brought 2 Jewish women together and had brought this Jewish woman home. I thought it might end there, and yet Chrissy's soul was on fire. The spark had ignited into a flame of passion and thirst for her heritage. And in the 2 years since our chance meeting, Chrissy has taken on a Jewish name. She now introduces herself as Dasi. She has a modest Jewish library in her home. She teaches her gorgeous children about the Aleph Beis, and she shows up for any and all opportunity to learn more and involve herself.
Thank you for the story, and also for reminding us that the power of a Jewish soul is so strong no matter what happens and no matter how much time passes.
Dasi is on here tonight. So Dasi, L'chaim, thank you for your inspiration. I am honored to be a part of your life. To me, you are a reminder of the Jewish soul, that a Jewish soul is never extinguished, never forgotten. And when we promise that no Jew is too far, we really mean it, both in terms of distance, but also in terms of time. Every Jew is a diamond. Thank you.
Thank you, Malki, and thank you also, Dasi, for inspiring us all.